Good afternoon, dear viewers. Now it's time for the top stories coming to you out of Channel 2. This is Reem Tamer, and we start with President Abdel-Fattah al-Sisi received a phone call from Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. The Palestinian leader greeted the president, marking Eid al-Fitr or the Lesser Bayram, wishing many good and blissful returns of the occasion to Egypt and Palestine, as well as the Arab and Islamic nations. President al-Sisi, meanwhile, said he deeply appreciates the good gesture, praying to God to bestow upon the Palestinian people their aspired secure and stable state. To the same end, President Abdel-Fattah al-Sisi exchanged the greetings with Arab and Islamic leaders over Eid al-Fitr or Greater Bayram, which marks the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. Al-Sisi expressed well wishes to them and to the public, saying he prays to God to accept all good deeds and wishing a blessed Eid to all. He also sent cables of congratulations to Egyptian communities abroad through consulates and embassies across the world. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian expatriates Badr Abdel-Ati discussed with his Kuwaiti counterpart Abdullah Al-Yaya the latest development in Gaza Strip and means of mobilizing international support for the Arab Islamic plan for early recovery and reconstruction in the Strip. Both ministers reviewed during a phone call the joint coordination to prepare for Cairo International Conference for Reconstruction in Gaza. The call also tackled ways of promoting bilateral relations in various regional issues of mutual concern. Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati hailed ties with Bahrain during a phone call with the Gulf countries' Foreign Minister Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani. He also stressed the importance of continuing with coordination to boost distinguished ties between the two sides. The call reviewed developments in Gaza and Egyptian and Qatari efforts to keep the ceasefire and return to the January 19th deal and guarantee the implementations of its 3 phases. As Palestinians observed the first day of Eid al-Fitr, the Civil Defense Agency said an Israeli strike on Sunday on a house and a tent sheltering displaced civilian killed at least 8, including 5 children. Spokesman for the Civil Defense Agency, Mahmoud Bassal, said there were 8 mortars, including 5 children, following a pre-dawn Israeli strike on a house and a tent sheltering displaced people in Khan Yunis. A fragile truce that had provided weeks of relative calm in the Gaza Strip collapsed on March 18th when Israel resumed its aerial bombardment and ground offensive in the Palestinian territory. Israel's genocide war has killed at least 50,277 Palestinian civilians inside Gaza. Hamas said it had accepted a new Gaza ceasefire proposal from mediators Egypt and Qatar. However, Israel said that it had made a counter-proposal in a full coordination with the third mediator, the United States. Earlier, Egypt made a proposal to get the troubled ceasefire back on track following Israel's surprise resumption of its genocide war. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Health Ministry said that 921 Palestinian civilians have been killed in the Palestinian territory since Israel resumed its large-scale strikes on March 18th. Syrian interim President Ahmad al-Shara announced the transitional government appointing 23 ministers in a broadened cabinet. Syria's new authorities have been under pressure to form a government that is more inclusive of the country's diverse communities. That pressure increased following the killings of hundreds of unarmed civilians in violence along Syria's western coast this month. The government will not have a prime minister. Earlier this month, Syria issued a constitutional declaration designed to serve as the foundation for the interim period. The declaration kept a central role for Islamic law and guaranteed women's rights and freedom of expression. The Israeli military claimed that it intercepted a missile fired from Yemen on Sunday after it activated air raid sirens across multiple areas of the country. The Israeli military said in a statement that following the sirens that sounded a short while ago in several areas in Israel, a missile launched from Yemen was intercepted prior to crossing into Israeli territory. Houthis have regularly fired missiles at Israel since the Israeli genocide war in Gaza broke out on October 7th, 2023. The Houthis, who have also targeted shipping vessels in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden since the Israeli genocide war in Gaza began, say they are acting in solidarity with the Palestinian people. Israel carried out its first major airstrike on Beirut's southern suburbs in months, retaliating for an earlier rocket launch from Lebanon in the most serious test of a shaky ceasefire deal agreed in November. The strike targeted a building in the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital. The ceasefire has looked increasingly flimsy in recent weeks. Israel delayed the promised troop withdrawal in January and said last week it had intercepted rockets fired on March 22nd, which led it to bombarding targets in southern Lebanon. This brings us, dear viewers, to the end of this top stories. Thank you for watching, and that was Reem Tamer. Stay safe.